we're going to take a look at the breakdown of the deer shots in the Aviation commercial. From the conception of this project, I really wanted a deer in the film. I thought it'd make for a cool image, and if it turned out well, I thought it could also help add a lot more production value to the piece. At one point, it was going to be a buffalo when all of the exterior footage was going to be shot in Kansas. And I looked into the animal being a goat for a little bit of time as well. Eventually it came full circle, and I ended up going with the deer after it was shot in Angeles National Forest. The first step was to get the background shot that I was happy with. I had a screenshot from the drone footage I liked, as the mountains kind of met in the middle with leading lines where the deer could pop his head up. Next, I went to Turbosquid and bought the model off there. When I downloaded it, it came with a bitmap that wasn't dropping onto the model correctly. When I applied it, I would get the body of the deer or the head of the deer with the second bitmap, but they just weren't combining. I tried a couple different solutions for merging the bitmap textures so that it would look correct. The first attempt was selecting the head of the deer, detaching it from the body, applying the bitmap to both, then reattaching the head to the body. What happened was, since the animation rig is designed for the original single object, if I messed with it, it would wonk it up, so that didn't work. The next thing that I tried was what I should have done first. I took all the vertices, put them all into the one UV slab, imported it into Photoshop, and essentially merged the two bitmaps into just one photo. And that worked out perfectly. From there, I rendered out the background in After Effects and dropped the sequence into 3ds Max. Now I could see where the airplane is and just have a better idea for how the animation could come together. Here's a side note. When you bring your background render into 3ds Max and you play it, you can see your animation plays, but the background stays stagnant until you unpause it. Well, I found the solution for this. If you go to Customize, Preferences, then check the box, Update while playing, now you can get the background to play at the same time. Animating the deer pulling its head up was the trickiest part. I started by getting references of a deer in real life pulling his head up. Then I used that as my guide to what it should look like. The tricky thing was the little micro movements of his ear or when the deer shakes his head. Using the curve editor was essential to getting the movement down. I made a ton of previews watching the animation, and I just kept adjusting the keyframes until I got something that I thought was passable. Okay, from there, I just dropped the deer render into After Effects, attached the deer layer to the motion tracked null so it moves with the camera shakes, and blurred the deer out. I substituted the movement of the plane for my camera movement and just rotoed the plane out. This was also the only shot in the whole piece I got a clean roto on and didn't have to mask out. Finally, I thought the shot was finished. We've got the background shot with the depth and the leading lines. There's layers of light to dark in the lighting. We've got the deer popping his head up, and then the plane flies right between the antlers. I was thinking that it was really coming together, so I showed it to a friend, and then he said, "No, it's still not there." What? What do you mean? The sky looks totally flat. There's no clouds in the background. He was right. So I added some clouds, and this was the one simple element that was the last 10% that I think really helped to make it come together. Moving on to the close-up of the deer's head, the way I got this was I used a mounted deer head from a neighbor who had one sitting in their basement. I had two references from different commercials I used. I originally tried quite a few focal lengths with different lighting, trying to get it to look alive and part of the outdoors. I lit it several different ways. I got it somewhat close, but again, it just could never live up to the test. When you pause it and you analyze it, it would just immediately fall apart. And so that's when it hit me. What if I just went outside to film the deer that's supposed to be outside? Brilliant. I had one person hold it while I filmed a close-up of it at sunset. The lighting looked so much better. That was everything. Then it was just moving the shot into After Effects and adding subtle quivers or blinks to the deer to make it appear more alive. It's basically the same process to puppeting a 2D character on a cartoon. I also cut on the movement of the deer's ear, so the next shot needed to start by repeating the motion of the ear moving to transition the shot easier. And that was the deer shot. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I am planning on making a whole lot more videos in the future. So if you enjoyed this, there's more to come.